Hello everyone. So in our previous video we discussed about the selection sort algorithm and we saw the demonstration of the algorithm step by step using an animation. Now in this video we'll code the algorithm into this sort method where we simply pass in the array which we want to sort and we'll simply apply the selection sort and test its working in the main method. So currently we are given with this array 5, 1, 2, 9, 10. And if I run the main method, so here we'll see that we are simply printing the array now using this print array method. So 5, 1, 2, 9, 10 got printed. Now let's code the algorithm in this sort method. So in the first step what we do is we create an integer variable n which will hold the length of the array, because we will use this value of n in the algorithm while we provide the for loops. Now at the first step we provide a for loop which starts from integer I equal to 0 to a value less than n minus 1 I plus plus. So in our previous video we discussed that we are actually dividing the array into two parts, the sorted part and the unsorted part. So basically this I will keep the track of the sorted and the unsorted part. So at the start all the elements are part of the unsorted part, so therefore the value of I will be 0 and the value of I will go to less than n minus 1. So here you can see we have this 5 elements, so the value of n will be 5 and if we do minus 1 it will be 4. So I will go from 0 to 3. Now why this I will go from 0 to 3 is because if we see the indexes, it starts from 0 and 3 will come to this point. So when we compare these last two elements and we sort them, then we know that both the elements will be at its correct position. So this algorithm should not go further ahead, because if I will come to this point, then we know that this is already sorted. So we are keeping track of the I till less than n minus 1, and which we already discussed in our previous video in great detail. So you can watch that video. Now inside this for loop, as we want to find the minimum element in the unsorted part, so what we do is we assume that min is pointing to index 0 at the start, and we are assuming that the first element is the minimum element, and after that we need to provide a for loop. Now this for loop will start with j equals to I plus 1 and this will go till less than n j plus plus. So here you can see that we are assuming the value held by an array at the ith index is the minimum value. So this is our assumption, and in order to find the minimum element among the unsorted part, we need to provide this for loop where we will compare all the elements with the value held by the min index. And as the min is pointing to the ith index, we are starting this inner for loop with j is I plus 1. And j will go till less than n, because we need to compare this minimum value with each and every element of the array. So j will go till the last index, and inside this for loop we'll provide a condition as if value at jth index is less than value at min index, then we know that we have found one more element which is less than the value at min index. So what we do is we simply update the min value to point to j, because we have found a new minimum value. So now min will point to the jth index, and this for loop will go on till all the elements are compared with the min value. And after this for loop will terminate, we know that we have found our minimum value whose index is being held by the min integer. So after the for loop, we'll simply swap this minimum value with the leftmost element of the unsorted part, which is being held by the value I, because we already discussed that we divide the array into two parts, the sorted part and the unsorted part, and I will keep the track of that boundary. So at the start I will point to 0, which would be the leftmost element of the unsorted part. So we'll simply swap this minimum value with the value stored at the ith index, and we'll use this temporary variable. So we first store the value at minimum index, which would be our minimum value, into the temp. And then we will assign the value at ith index to value at min index. And at the last, whatever the value stored in temp will assign to ith index. So here you can see, after we perform this swap, one element reaches to the sorted part, and then we increment the I by 1. So I becomes 1, and the rest of the algorithm is repeatedly performed on an array till we get all the elements into the sorted part. So in order to understand the selection sort using an animation, you can watch my previous video. So this is the code for the selection sort. Now let's test its working. So after printing the array, we will call the sort method. We pass in the array, and once this method gets executed, we will simply print the array again. If I run the main method, so here you can see initially array was 5, 1, 2, 9, 10, and after we perform the selection sort, it became 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, which is in ascending order. So friends, this was all about the selection sort algorithm. I hope you have liked this video, and in case you have liked this video, then please like, share, comment and subscribe my channel. Thanks, have a nice day.